Hi again, everybody. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. It's a 5-game sprint to the finish in District 16 4A, and nobody has been better at it in recent years than the John Tyler Lions. And Coach Ricklan Holmes joins us before the Lions take on the Corsicana Tigers coming up on Friday night at Trinity Mother Frances Rose Stadium. It's time really gets serious now, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, the first 5 games are over with. Now you've seen what your team can do. And you know what they're good at right now, and now you know what they're not good at that you had to fix over the bye week and get ready for this 5-game stretch that determines whether you're going to be playing in the postseason.
And the district, I'm not sure what to make of the district. Nacogdoches, I think, is better than a lot of people thought. We thought White House was going to be pretty good. It looks like they are. And you've been the dominant team over the past few years. So give me an overview of what 16 4A is going to be like.
16 4A is going to be rough. We have 6 teams in our district right now, and out of that 16, 5 of them are playing really good right now. Their records don't show how good that they're playing, besides, White House and Nacogdoches, because they're doing a lot of winning.
Right.
But Corsicana's doing a lot of great things on the offense, defense side of the ball. Lindale's doing some great things on defense. Their offense just isn't clicking like it should right now. Their special teams is real solid. Then you go to who was that? Lindale.
Jacksonville. Yeah.
Jacksonville offense is just as productive as they were last year. Mm-hmm. They're just having a lot of turnovers right now. So you look at that collective group of football teams we have right now that are playing, that are getting ready to tune up, and getting ready to go into this district. They do the same thing that I'm doing. First 5 games, you figure out what your team is going to do well, what you need to fix. Now you come to this time now to where now you got to put everything together, because this is going to make or break your season.
I looked at one of the Corsicana scores a couple of weeks ago. That's the team you play this week. They played Sulphur Springs and lost. It was like 77-69 or something.
Yeah,
like it looked like
it was
a
high scoring game.
Score. Yeah,
high scoring game.
I mean, what's the deal?
The deal with that is, offensive have become the dominant part of the football game right now. As you can see, not just looking at high school games, but looking at college games, looking at pro games. The points that are being scored are outdoing what defenses are willing to stop right now. Right now, offensive, defensive coordinators' nightmares right now. It's coming to the point to where now you just have to make at least that 1 or 2 good stops to keep your offense in the game, because you know that they can score. I mean, look at Baylor.
Yeah.
They're scoring 70 points a game. And then, but with that game against Corsicana, against Sulphur Spring, it was basically who's going to outscore who at the end of the game.
What's easier to coach? I mean, when you played in the 90s for John Tyler, and then at Oklahoma State, and even into in the NFL career that you had, scores weren't like that.
No.
I mean, what's easier to coach? Is it easier to coach what we've got now, or when the scores were lower?
I think the easiest thing to coach right now is special teams. Because, as an offense, if you're not real productive, you're not putting up a lot of big numbers as far as yardage and points, then you're not a real productive offense in everybody else's eye. And then as a defense, if you're not stopping people and you're not keeping points off the board, then you're not a very productive defense. So I think both sides of the ball are pretty much equal as far as, the responsibility and the weight that it puts on each other. But now you put in that third phase, which to me is the grand equalizer. It's the special team. Because a lot of these teams are winning and losing, not because they're outscoring their opponent, not because they're stopping their opponent, but because they're making these deciding plays on the special team side of the ball.
Where do these quarterbacks, it seems like everybody has a quarterback now. Where do these guys all come from?
They're all coming from the mamas and daddies of the world. All these kids.
Yeah, but they've always been mamas and daddies, but not quarterbacks like this. Where do these guys come from?
They're coming from skilled players is what they're doing. These are guys that would normally, back in the day, they've been a wide receiver, they've been a running back, they've been a defensive back. But now, as coaches, we're looking at these guys' athletic ability, and we're saying, hey, let's put the ball in this guy's hand just like if he was at a running back. Now you add that 6th threat as far as on the offense side of the ball with 1 back and 4 receivers, which are your 5 threats. But now you have this 6th guy back here, which is the deciding factor on, this is the guy that you can't account for. And with the athletic ability that most of these guys have now, it's just amazing to see what they're able to do, not just with their feet, but with throwing the ball. RG3, prime example. You know, in high school, RG3 was a real good quarterback. He was basically showing everybody what an athletic quarterback could do if you gave him the quarterback fundamentals. You know, and he's showing it now in the NFL just like he did in college, just like he did in high school. And, you know, another prime example, kid's going to be special, the lead quarterback. You know, he's very, very talented, throws just as well as he runs. You know, you go back and now you look at the Corsicana quarterback we're about to face. Very, very talented kid. He reminds me a lot of the quarterback that we went against at Mesquite Horn.
Okay.
He's a gritty, tough kid, almost kind of like a running back, but he makes real good decisions with the ball in his hands and getting it to the playmaker.
Plus the guy, your guy, Gio McAllister, linebacker as a freshman, who you've told this story before. You saw him throwing one afternoon after practice, but just an athlete.
Just athletes.
I mean, just a really good. I mean, he could be good at anything on the football field that he wanted to do. Couldn't he?
And that's what all these quarterbacks are boiling down to right now. Like I said, you just finding the best athlete on the team, and you making a quarterback out of him, and then you just basically putting the ball in his hand to make sure that your team can be in the best possible position to make plays.
All right, I understand what you're saying, but the throwing ability, though. I mean, not just anybody, I don't care how good athletically they are, can throw the ball like that. Where's that coming from?
That's still athletic ability.
Is it 7-on-7? Is that what's done it in Texas?
First of all, like I said, it has to do with athletic ability.
Yeah.
But then once you combine that with the repetition of throwing the ball, not only through the football season, but now you got spring ball. Most teams have. Then you got 7-on-7. You got to think these kids are throwing the ball maybe 2,000-3,000 times in a year. And with that, when all the camps that they have now, the quarterback camps like the Peyton Manning camps where they're learning all these little bitty, techniques that they can use to correct the sidearm, to make sure they're keeping the elbows up and they don't drop the ball. Going through all that combined with athletic ability, that's how we're getting to have all these, these dominant quarterbacks right now.
When you played, did you guys huddle?
Yeah, we huddled. Yes, we did.
At John Tyler, did you huddle at Oklahoma State?
The first 2 years we huddled under Bob Simmons, and then once Coach Les Miles came and Coach Gundy was our offensive coordinator, we went to the no-huddle offense.
Does anybody in high school football right now that you can think of off the top of your head go into a traditional huddle? Does anybody do that?
That's rough.
I got to think about that the other night. It just dawned on me in a game. I'm going, nobody ever huddles anymore.
I don't think nobody does. I think everything is called from the sideline. You guys don't? Yeah, I believe everything's called from the sideline right now. With the fast pace that the offenses want to go at, that's why defense had to go to the signaling in from the sideline instead of, hey, you echo this, you echo that. Because now, with the versatility that these offenses have, with the wristband communication, with the signal communication, with the quarterback's development as far as knowing what to call while they're on the field right now is amazing.
Yeah, I watched some of these college games, and I'm going, where do these kids come from? And Texas has produced so many quarterbacks. There was a time in my lifetime when Texas produced no big-time quarterbacks. It was all running backs, wide receivers, defensive guys. And then the last 20 years, the quarterbacks are all coming out of Texas. Is that a 7-on-7 thing, you think?
It has to be. It has to be. And then, not just in Texas, but, all over the nation right now, because Nike has what they've done exploded the 7-on-7 scene, especially with the massive towards the end of the summer, they have a East, West, and a North and a South team that they put together from all these phenomenal, not just wide receivers, not just running back, but quarterbacks, that they put into the Elite 11. These guys are sent through tests. They're also basically prompt to be these quarterbacks that they're going to send back to their school or their school sent to them as far as their mechanics and decision making and stuff of that nature.
I mean, I'm looking at the stats for the season in your district, non-district so far. 3 of the 6 teams are over 400. One of them's over 500, and just about everybody. I mean, anymore. And I know this has nothing to do with the game on Friday night, but anymore you look at the stats, and if you see a defense that gives up less than 400 yards a game, you say it's a pretty good defense.
You would think so.
I mean, statistically anymore, that used to be as bad as it got. Now, anything under 400 yards a game is pretty good.
That's pretty good right now. And it's sad that you have to set your standards at that, but, the truth is the truth. But now that we're going into the second season, all those stats that you're looking at on that piece of paper right now just got thrown out the window.
Yeah, that's true. It's all right. Let's go back to that. We're going to see some videos, some of your good plays from the first 5 ball games. But as a football team right now, how good are you? Do you think you are right at the moment?
I think we're at the point now to where I expected us to be after the preseason. I think that we've learned a lot during our 5-game stretch about our team, about what we can and we can't do. I think that we're starting to understand a little bit more about football, and it's not just a game of, me being better than you. It's about knowing exactly what you need to do as a team and accomplish that together.
What's the best game you've played so far overall? All around, just top to bottom, best game?
Overall, probably the league game.
Yeah.
That was almost a mistake-free game for us. I think that we done a lot of good things in the Lancaster game that showed that we were improving. We lost against Lufkin, and I still seen some good things in that. I understand that we are able to move the ball against some good teams against the Lufkin defense that they had. And then in the Tigers game, we outscored them, but it was a lot of things that we done in that game that needed to be corrected that didn't show the team that we need to be to win a district championship right now.
51-14 was the Tigris ball game, so you just talked a little bit about it before we see the highlights of the season so far. What'd you like, what'd you not like about that ball game?
I like that we was able to score. I like that our defense played just as good as they've been playing all year long. I understand that we was playing a different type of team, an international team, but they still predominantly were like a United States team as far as spreading the ball out, throwing it here and there, running it, playing a sound defense like they did with their front that they did have. Has a pretty good linebackers. Their secondary wasn't as skillful as the guys that we had been facing, like the Horns and the Lees and the Lancaster teams, that such. But, they played some really sound football. We've seen a lot of corrections on our special teams that we needed to see. So in that game, I took a lot of good things. I took a lot more positive out of that game than I did negative.
What about injury-wise? Are you healthy?
We're still healthy. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Keep it that way. From the past 5 games, we haven't had any major injuries, so that's good.
What'd you get done last week during the bye week?
Basically come back together as a team. We earned out everything that we need to earn out as far as making sure that we're going to be the team that needs to go through district and win a district championship. So we focus in a lot more on the little things versus the broad things that we was trying to cover because we were actually getting ready to play teams. So now you find out exactly who the John Tyler Lions are in that bye week and to make sure that you stay that team that you want to be.
All right, let's take a look at some of the video Coach Holmes brings along. About 5 minutes worth of some of the great plays of the first 5 non-district ball games that included, of course, Lufkin and Lancaster and Robert E. Lee, Mesquite Horn, and Tigris. This is the Lufkin game, first game of the year.
Yeah, it's a little swing pass to Reggie Gibson. He's showing his speed. And some good blocking at the edge, to give him that crease to hit after he gets the ball in his hand.
That was a road game. Jumped out on him, too. Right?
Very quick. Now, this play right here is a play to Jeremy Wilson. A little handoff. And once again, showing blocking at the edge, and then we just use our athletic ability and speed to get up the field. And
is he healthy? Because he had a little,
yes,
got
he's
dinged
healthy.
up. Okay,
yeah,
all
he's
right.
healthy.
Same game against the Panthers. High-scoring ball game.
Just a little running play right here to Reggie. He find his way to the end zone. Like I said, against a great Lufkin front, we was able to run the ball and we was able to actually pass the ball like we wanted to against that secondary. We just had way too many turnovers that day.
And one of the big problems, which you've sensed, and who's this with the catch?
That's Reggie.
Reggie, yeah. Oh, they're going to catch him. Oh,
yeah. And that guy's pretty fast.
He's
if
fast.
that guy can come behind Reggie and get him, he's pretty fast.
All right, this is the Lancaster game.
Just a little run play right here to Reggie, just hard nose running. Once you get that first initial contact, you got to keep those feet moving and get more yardage, and Reggie's coming really, really good at that.
Lancaster was a state finalist last year, and
they lost to Cedar Park, I believe.
They beat you, so it was this kind of revenge game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anytime you can come back the next year and beat the team that beat you, that's always a good feeling.
Also the home opener.
Yes.
Pass rush here gets him.
This was a Saturday game at the classic that we have every year.
Who got the sack, by the way, just a moment ago?
I believe that was Amy.
Darius Amy, okay. Fade down the near
pass
sideline.
to Reggie Gibson, showing his receiver skills.
Showing off those white helmets. Here we go.
And this is
There's Wilson here,
that's
isn't it?
Jeremy Wilson
Yeah.
again.
31, lost to Lufkin 52-28. Going to beat Lancaster 31-28. Here's some more defense.
The option play where you just make sure everybody keeps their responsibility and string it out, and then you cause a turnover. You know, that's one of the deals that we harp on as a defensive staff, and make sure that, hey, we not only keep points off the board, but we got to give our offense an opportunity to have the ball in their hands.
Who scored there?
That was Jeremy Wilson.
Jeremy Wilson again, okay.
It's going to be another sack by, that was Malik Hubbard right there.
Okay, all right.
Coming off the edge.
Senior linebacker, here we go. Zone read, nice play by Gio.
It's going to be Gio showing off his 6'2" frame speed.
Touchdown. I'm not sure that kid really wanted to tackle him that badly.
That's a big guy to try to bring down.
All right, here's the Robert E. Lee game.
Actually, it's Mesquite Horn.
Mesquite Horn, I'm sorry, Horn game.
That's a touchdown pass to Nick Kane.
Where's the Lee game?
You just seen Lee a while ago. That was Gio.
Gio, okay. Oh, that was the Gio. Okay, okay, all right. See, I lost track there. Okay.
This is Nick Kane again.
Right. This is the Horn game. Okay. By the way, beat Lee 44-0. See, I lost track of that.
Right.
Okay.
And then that was the Horn game. Now we at the Tigers game.
Tigers game. Okay. Sack.
Pressure coming from Braylon Jones.
Okay.
One of our sophomore guys is showing he has the capability of playing on Friday. This is our Wildcat formation with Reggie Gibson in the backfield. Show him showing his speed and quarterback ability.
Now you broke out the blue helmets at home in this game. You
Yeah.
didn't wear the white. Okay.
Yeah. Bring it out before district game.
Okay. You gonna tell me what y'all gonna wear in district? Does it depend on which?
Yeah. The first game we're gonna be blue, blue, white, white.
Blue, blue, white, white.
Yeah,
Okay.
blue helmet, blue jersey, white pants, white socks.
Okay. All right. Here we go. That's Reggie again, right?
That's Reggie again.
Gio. Is
That's
that Gio or
Nick
Kane? Nick Kane.
Nick
All right.
Kane against Tigris, showing his athletic ability and what he can do with the ball in his hand.
You know, Nick, it was interesting the way he ran there. He's kind of picking his spots.
Yeah.
You know, he wouldn't run as fast as he could, but he was kind of following the blockers along.
Reading
right?
his blockers,
Yeah.
reading his blockers, and make sure that he was able to get the ball in the end zone and make some things happen.
Yeah, Nick Kane is a talented young man. He's a backup quarterback and starting wide receiver,
Yeah.
and he's another kid could play whatever position he wants to play.
He's an athlete. You know, when I send out the prospect sheets to all the colleges, some of the guys have wide receiver. They have their position next to it. He's one of those kids that just have the ATH next to it, athlete. That's what he is.
You got recruited as a high school football player to go to Oklahoma State, so you know how that game is played.
Yeah.
The recruiters, it's October now. When do they start kind of coming around?
They'll start coming around real heavy, probably around the November time.
Okay.
They've been ducking in and out throughout the first week, all the way to last week.
But they can
But
talk
it's
to you, but
yeah,
they can't come
they
talk to
can't-
the
they can't
kids,
come
right?
talk to the kids. Like I say, they come in there, they may duck in and, hey, how's this kid doing? Can I pick up a transcript on this kid? That's what they've been doing throughout this time right here. But like I said, November, they'll start getting more in contact with kids because I guess that's their window of opportunity to reach out to kids and basically put a face with a name there. That's what they're going to be
What's
doing.
that like, the recruiting process?
I think it's fun. It's kind of like dating. You got to woo and you got to do all the things that,
Well, now the kids being wooed, the players
the kids
being wooed by the,
yeah.
all right.
So, you got to do all that necessary stuff
Yeah.
to make sure that, you intrigue those kids. You draw
Right.
their attention towards your school versus another school that, you know, hey, they may think that, you know, I like the school colors, or I like the coach, or, you know, I like, you know, the city that it's in. You know, when you start actually getting down to everything, you got to make sure that you appease that child. That's really what it boils down to.
All right, you went to Oklahoma State. Who recruited you? Where'd you take your visits?
I got recruited by Nebraska. I got recruited by Syracuse. I was getting recruited by Texas until they switched coaches from Makovich to Mac Brown.
Mac Brown.
And then that kind of fell off a little bit. And Baylor was one of the schools.
Did you take visits at all those places? Where all did you take visits to?
I only took my visits to Kentucky, Nebraska, Oklahoma State, and Syracuse.
Syracuse. Yeah. What was that like?
Cold.
Cold?
Yeah, because it was, you know, we played so deep in the playoffs. Right. You know, I couldn't go until, January, end of December, before I could actually go visit somebody, and, you know, that's wintertime up there.
So you got to see all these places you'd never been to before, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, would you any advice you'd give to some of these young men as they get recruited? What do you tell them?
Soak in all the information that you can soak in. You know, when these coaches, these recruiters are talking to you, you know, fill them out. You know, ask them the question that you want to know. You know, because they have to tell you, you know, whether it's good or it's bad. You know, this is the time for you that you know that you have the upper hand over a school, because they want you.
Right.
You know, it's not at the point to where you need them right now.
Yeah.
You know, so what you do is you make sure you get all the information that you need. You weigh everything out. And now it comes down to, where do you really want to spend the next 4 years or the 5 years if you get ready?
Plus, in a way, the rest of your life, because you're still, to this day, you're an Oklahoma State Cowboy, right?
I'm Oklahoma State through and through, and I wouldn't have changed and went to a different school, because
you felt like you made the right call.
I felt like I made the right choice, me and my family, and I think that, you know, you are tied to that school for the rest of your life. Yeah, you really are.
Yeah, and that's cool. You know, I mean, I know you root for the Patriots because you played there, and root for the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Yeah.
And you've had some players go to Oklahoma State.
I have had some players go to Oklahoma State. I have a player there now, Eric Davis. He's actually getting some playing time at Oklahoma State, so I get to watch him on Saturdays play. He's number 97, so if y'all see him make some plays, you know who he is.
By the way, this past weekend, SMU wound up losing in triple overtime game to Rutgers. But Jeremy Johnson had, 16 or 18 catches? He set a school record.
18 catches for 217 yards, I know.
3 touchdowns.
I watched the whole game. And Jeremy is actually doing what we know Jeremy can do. You know, he's a playmaker. He was a quarterback here with us, but he was that kind of guy that I was telling you about, that athlete.
The athlete, absolutely.
You know, you want to put the ball in his hand and make some things happen. And as a wide receiver, he already understands how the routes need to be run. Because
he's a slot receiver for them.
Because at the quarterback position, you know exactly what routes are going to be out there at any given time. So now he's just basically focusing in on what he would read as a quarterback. And his hands are phenomenal. I mean, he was always a great catcher. And you got to see how productive he really can be. You know, I think this is like his 3rd or 4th game where he's at over 100 yards catching. Right. So.
Well, and it's just because he played quarterback, you know, he's a smart football player, bright kid, good kid. And,
you gotta be pretty smart to go to SMU.
And plus, I think he'll make some money in the NFL playing.
Well, if he keep having numbers like he's having for these last several weeks, he's opening up a lot of eyes, especially with that 2-point conversion catch that he had.
I haven't seen the replay of that. I've heard the radio call, but I haven't seen it.
It was gorgeous. It wasn't a very well thrown ball by Gilbert, I must add, but I love the way that Gilbert, you know, he still kept his eyes downfield, and even though he was on the other side of the field, he seen Jeremy in the corner of the end zone.
And threw it to him.
He threw it to him.
Now, again, SMU lost the game, but there are a lot of John Tyler guys making an impact at the college level right now, but the business at hand is not about those guys. The business at hand is at Corsicana. Are they a throwing spread football team like everybody else?
They're probably a 60-40 team, 60 passing, 40 running. If they get into a situation where they feel like they're comfortable running, then it kind of flips, and they come into a more 60 running and 40 passing. They are a multi-dimensional offensive team, and what I mean by that is they come in a lot of different formations. And I think what they try to do is they try to confuse you with the formations they're coming out in, but they know exactly what they want to do out of it. They just, for the first part of the season, they've just been having way too many mistakes as far as turnovers.
A new coach this year. Coach
Yeah.
Castles is at Henderson now, so they have a new coach. Did they change their philosophy at all?
As far as offense, I think they did change, but with the multiple set, Castle didn't go with a lot of different multiple
Right.
sets when he was there. So they threw in a lot of that into their offensive package. The defense doesn't look like it changed much, as far as what they run in the secondary and the front.
I remember last year's game. I broadcast that ball game. You guys had 10 possessions and you scored 9 touchdowns. And you almost made it 10 of 10. I had never seen a perfect game offensively, which is about what that would have been.
Yeah.
You put up huge numbers on those guys. Are they a better football team this year? They made the playoffs, by the way, last year.
I think athletically they're a better team. I think they got a lot more athletes on the offense and defense side of the ball this year than they did last year. I think they kind of remind you of that semifinal team where they had a real good running back with the collective group of athletes that they did have. It's just that they have to make the necessary corrections to make sure that the offense doesn't turn the ball over and they don't put the defense in a situation where they have their back against the wall to stop people.
We know White House is pretty good. Mahomes, I mean, the numbers they put up. But it's not just White House. Nacogdoches is pretty good too.
Nacogdoches is turning over just like I thought they were going to do. I thought that they were going to start becoming the team that need to become under Coach Riaz. I think he's going to do a great job with those kids, and it's showing. In the first 4 games, it's showing that hey, he know what to do with those kids. He's putting them in the right position to make the right plays.
They beat Lufkin first time in a long time. That tells you. I mean, I know how big that was for them. So beating Lufkin, I mean, that's a turnaround deal for them, and they must be pretty good.
They are pretty good, and they're very solid. They're throwing the ball well. They have a very versatile quarterback right there. And their defense is really strong right now. They are playing lights out, and they are saying and doing exactly what I tell my team all the time. You got to have a bend but don't break defense, and you got to have a very productive offense.
Do you notice the change in intensity with everybody now?
Yeah, even the kids. The mentality. I think it's all starting to set in with my kids. I'm seeing it. I'm talking about my kids now. I think it's starting to set in with them to where they're starting to understand the game of football is simple if you just do what you're supposed to do. And if you do what you're supposed to do, I promise the game is fun also. Now, it's not very fun when you're not doing the things you need to do and you're losing, But when you're doing the things you need to do and you're winning the right way, the game is really, really fun.
The district is balanced as you've ever seen it, or is it top-heavy right now?
I think it's balanced right now.
Okay.
I think it's pretty balanced right now. I said we got 6 teams in there, and 5 are playing really, really good right now. So, even the 16.
And the other one can move the ball.
And they can move the ball. So if you look at our district, I'm not going to say is one of the dominant districts in the state. I think we got some really good teams in there. I think we're going to have 4 teams that's going to make it. That's going to make a push in the playoff. So I think that it's not over. It's not just us and White House anymore. Like everybody thought it was going to be at the beginning. It's going to come down to 4 good teams.
All right, the Lions against the Corsicana Tigers. It's Friday night, Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium, JT Corsicana, 7:30 kickoff. Go Cujo! Lions need and deserve your support in their district opener. Look forward to seeing you at Trinity Mother Francis Rose Stadium. For Coach Holmes, I'm Bill Coates. Thanks for joining us.